All right, everyone, happy weekend and good morning. And Connor, thank you for joining us as well.
You're welcome, Scotty. How was the trading week for you?
Look, it wasn't too bad. Nothing really much happened, to be honest. It had some promise, but then not so much. Like the Kiwi was looking good for a short we were talking about. I didn't get triggered, and then USD Swiss. I got in on the hourly, um, and then it moved pretty well, so I moved, and then it hit me for a break even. So.
Yeah, I was just looking. It was looking
Hmm.
choppy on the hourly.
I really shouldn't have taken that trade. I was sort of in the mood for just trading, and it was not because I mean the overhead resistance was not really. So that's a good learning curve, though, guys. If you are like let's just get into a trade because it looks pretty good. Because I was
The
just thinking US dollar strength, but no, that was not.
classic, yeah, that's a classic hiccup by any trader deciding that you're going to decide when to
Yeah,
trade and not the markets.
yeah,
That's a 101 mistake there, but that happens to a lot of people. But
yeah,
I was
yeah.
looking when I was looking at the chart, Scotty. It didn't seem like, considering the economic news in the stock market,
Mm,
like the Dow Jones and stuff in America, and what happened in Europe with the crisis going on, the debt crisis going
yeah,
on with Italy. When you actually look at the euro on the chart,
yeah, yep.
it didn't get the reaction I thought it would.
No, I didn't. No, I agree. I'll bring up the 4 hourly, and you're right. It's sort of. Yeah, I know. It's pretty. Yeah,
That could just be a movement for any week. There's
yeah.
been we've seen it this year move up, move down far more than that with less economic news. So
Mm,
I was quite surprised to see that. I think still people are seeing the US as a safe haven. Like people still think that it's where the money's going to be made when you're watching a
mm.
lot of the currencies around the world depreciate
Yeah.
at the moment.
Big
And so
time.
people are still have a bit of faith. You saw the correction in the stock market at the Dow Jones at the end of the week, I believe, was just like about 4.19. So it wasn't a total disaster.
Yeah, yeah. Big time. Yeah, that's right. It was just sort of, and I guess a little bit of panic showed, but there was recovery there, and it was sort of interesting because it happened near the end of the week when the big sell-offs were taking place, but still people came in and bought the dip, so to speak, and we're
Well,
still.
we're talking Bitcoin. We're talking Bitcoin terminology now by buying the dip.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That sold off as well, actually. So even that,
Yeah.
I
This
noticed.
is this is important, I believe, because although Trump is saying that it was a correction, I believe that it was an actual crack.
Mm,
So it's been a crack. The pressure, the debt pressures coming from, and the currency pressures coming from. You had Venezuela, you have Iran, you
mm,
have Turkey. Now it's making its way over into Europe, and we're starting to see a little bit of pressure put on in Italy. Like we've been
mm,
talking about this on the show before
mm.
this, and now that that's happened, and so I think that it was interesting to see the reaction to gold. I'm not sure if you have the gold chart, but that was like textbook what happens when there's a bit of a crisis in the stock market. Gold went up about $30 at one stage, but
It did,
Bitcoin,
yeah.
but they didn't see the same safe haven in Bitcoin that people
No,
seem to be
no,
claiming that it's the future of gold. And now we've had this little test in the economy, in the global economy, and it didn't stand up to the first bit of scrutiny.
no,
Now you
I,
can have what you want to read into that, but you could see textbook. We're having this. Looks like there may be a crisis. Gold's going up as a safe haven. Bitcoin didn't do the same thing.
no, it really didn't, and its little brother Ethereum as well, because I monitored that obviously with the prop firm stuff. It went below 200. It was really, and Bitcoin nearly went below 6,000. So it's there's a lot of water pressing up against the damn wall, so to speak, right now.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an interesting one to watch, and obviously, if people do like to trade Bitcoin and whatnot, and you're thinking when should I get out? Well, it's hard for us to say, but the more times it tests that level, the worse it is really. Like, and if the bounces are weaker, and the bounce was weaker off this sort of, it moved like 300 points. It was pretty crazy. And
Have you got the chart up in front of you?
no, I don't. Let's get it up.
Just put it up in front of you. But
Yeah.
with Bitcoin, it hasn't been battle tested in a crisis yet.
No, it hasn't.
It stemmed, for those who don't know, it coincidentally stemmed around about the same time as the global financial crisis in 2008, and people started to use it as a rebel currency almost.
Yeah,
but it's people in the know that it's not a regulated market. It's quite open that it's manipulated. That's the
yep.
They just say like, oh, it's a part of the game. That's what's so great
and
about it.
the server crashes, and it's like in that time, my friends were telling me on BitMEX, which is, it's the futures exchange though for Bitcoin, but that's widely used pretty much because people like to sell it and whatnot and get in because it would just freeze.
Well, as a safe haven.
Well, no, that's the problem, isn't it? Like, and I think people acknowledge that as well.
Prove itself as a currency.
Yeah.
There'd be some sort of price stability going on there. There's nothing. Like, it can be worth so much more.
No, that's right.
Gone up 50%, in a day before. Now, that's not something you can deem as and have confidence in for being a currency. So, in a time of crisis, are you going to put your money into something that you don't actually know whether it's...
that's what it looks like. So when you monitor it is pretty much that. So, and I think October 26th might be when the SEC announces when they're looking at potentially approving the ETF. But again, that's hard to tell because it's there's a lot going on with what it is. Like, there's a lot of issues with its reliability and everything. So I think there's a lot more concerns than positives when it comes to the ETF being approved. Now, we've had a little bit of recovery on Bitcoin. It was like 0.5% or so, but I've got the 1 hour chart and you can see the absolute it dropped really pretty heavy. Wow. Okay. Well, there was that chart. I think I might have I've got audio on my end, Connor. Can you hear me okay? We might have had some audio difficulty. I opened up. I think I might have overloaded the computer here a little bit. All right, so guys, we've got the Aussie dollar chart up here. A 4 hour time frame. So Connor, just looking at this, and we were discussing actually off air before we started recording about the 71.80-ish sort of level. And is that something you'd want to look to see how it interacted with to potentially sell this? And if we go to the weekly, get it down to
if you get to the daily, I like the way it moves on the daily. I said last week that I'd expect a retracement up until about that 71.80 mark, and then if it was to try and bust through that 71.82 mark and then start making its way back down, that would potentially be a trade for a short on the Aussie. I also think that with the current sort of market in Australia, with the housing market, these sorts of things, it'd be quite prudent for them not to raise interest rates. But who knows how the RBA thinks. However, just on the data of our housing pressure, I don't think that they're going to raise rates. I can't see it going through that mark. It might get back up to about 72.91, something like that. I could be wrong. But if it were to go through there, show some serious signs of there's rejection, I wouldn't mind taking a trade on a sell.
Yeah, that's right. Like, it seems that you'd have to be very aggressive to just buy this and think it was going to be a runner, because there's so many times it's failed to break the trend, especially on the daily. You can really see. It's
on the weekly. That's where it's like starting. There's a steep decline on the weekly.
Yeah.
So since the start of the year, it basically decided that it was going to start making its way down.
Oh yeah, the weekly is
The
pretty.
start of the year, it was around about the 80-cent mark.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
It's just head down. It's touched 70. So
yeah, it has. I think the low we've seen was pretty much flush 70, 74 one. So no lower than that. It actually got to 74.0 was the low it's got to. So that's and like you said, if it does hit that level at 71.80. The next real support level's down at 68.80. 68.65 or so is what I've got here. So it's quite a nice little potential risk to reward play for anyone that's sort of, you just got to wait and time things. So you can't just, I mean, if you could sell it right here, but like I kind of just said, everyone, it could sort of rally up some more. But we had the Shanghai Composite up as well earlier, and that was quite interesting to see the state of the Chinese stock market. So that's something to pay attention to as well. Like if China's not going particularly well, it's going to affect us here in Australia. So, and again, interest rates still stalling, and there's not much room to sort of move right now with the RBA. Again, though, they do their own thing, but America is still going to raise rates, maybe one more time.
If America raised rates, it always puts pressure on the rest of the world to raise rates.
Yeah.
So that's a bad thing. But however, I think given our sort of issues like you mentioned with China, their stock exchange is down 10%.
Yeah. It's a lot.
We've got that. We've got a lot of household debt in the way of mortgages. People are over leveraged. We could be seeing them trying to hold current interest rates for a bit longer.
That's a good point. Yeah, with the over leveraging situation, which is pretty prolific. That's that's a very good point. So that's probably the main trade idea, really. I mean, and we discussed the euro earlier as well, but it's sort of it's a little challenging. You've got obviously that catalyst with Italy not getting the bailout from the European Union, and you're making some interesting points about how it's the populist government who are in place right now in Italy, so they're not very cooperative with the EU, so the EU aren't going to bail them out. So would this be a pair that you'll be watching as well? Just in case it sort of wants to sell off a little bit. But it's
like I said before, I'm not interested in what's going on technically at the moment with the Euro USD. It's more what's going on fundamentally. I believe that Italy is now just when Trump said there's a correction, like I said before, I believe that it will be a correction. But Italy has shown a crack.
Yes.
And the worst is yet to come.
Yeah, it seems like that is. Yeah, because now there's going to be some real questions on what happens really here, because this is a bit of uncharted water right now for the EU, and obviously Italy are in. They'll have to do something. So we'll see what comes about it. So that's an interesting thing to watch and pay attention to, and back to the Aussie dollar now. So that's really the main sort of watch right now. The pound had a bit of a rally this week as well, but it has sort of pulled back against some resistance. So it's there's no real trade quite there yet.
If you look at the pound on the daily, they've kind of got like a double top going on.
Ah, yes, you're right.
And it didn't make it as high last time. So I don't know if anyone's interested in double tops anymore. I don't particularly trade them. I feel like the double top, I see it a lot. Everyone sort of sees it. It's a real common sort of hat. And I don't get a lot of results from the double top, so I don't trade it.
No, because it's in this area where it's very choppy as well. So it is difficult to sort of, take that. And then they could come out with some really good Brexit news and then it rallies. So if you're selling this and then some unexpected...
I've been stung a few times on the cable this year. So kind of hesitant of it. Unless something really great turns up, I'm not interested.
Yeah, good point. But just having a look at the time now, I think we are going to have to wrap things up soon. But I'll finish with the weekly chart here on the Aussie dollar because it's that's a downtrend right there on this whole year. So for the guys who are new to trading, so that's the main watch. Any final words here, Connor, to finish things up with?
No. I think I'm bearish at the moment on the Aussie.
Yeah.
I think that although it's looking bad in the stock market for the US, that it is a correction. It will go a bit higher. However, there are cracks, and you may see a crash. I'm calling it.
Yep.
I know people aren't supposed to. 2019 or 2020. I can't see it going too much longer than that.
Yeah, well, you're right. Something has to. It's just the cycle of the situation, really. It's got to eventually pop up. So definitely one to watch and see how it all pans out. But that's it, guys. Again, thank you for watching, and thank you, Connor, for joining us.
Thank you.
And everyone enjoy your weekend, and happy trading. Bye for now.